All right, if you're a cloud architect, you know the struggle. You've got these awesome, modern serverless apps, but they need to talk to your private backend resources in Google Cloud without, punching a giant hole in your security. It's a classic problem. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the essential patterns you need to build those secure private network paths.
Okay, let's just get right to the heart of it. Picture this. You have a shiny public serverless API. Maybe it's running on Cloud Run. But your crown jewels, all that critical data, lives in a private database that can never, ever have a public IP address. So, how do you build that bridge between them securely? That's the exact puzzle we are going to solve today.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll really dig into the architect's dilemma. Then we'll build up from the foundation with firewalls, figure out how to unlock Google services privately, and then connect our serverless world. After that, we'll put it all together in a practical blueprint and leave you with some real actionable patterns you can use.
Okay, section 1, the architect's dilemma. Look, this is all about that constant push and pull, right? You've got the speed and agility of modern serverless on one hand, and the absolute non-negotiable need for old-school, lockdown private security on the other.
And this isn't just some tech puzzle. It's a core business need. We want the scalability, we want the efficiency of serverless for our apps that face the public, but we have to have zero tolerance for exposing our backend data stores to the wild west of the internet. The whole goal is to get all the amazing benefits of serverless without ever compromising on security, and that takes intentional design. So where do we start? Well, we start with the absolute bedrock of network security in Google Cloud. Section 2, firewalls. This is where we lay down the fundamental rules of the road. I absolutely love this analogy. Just think of your virtual private cloud, your VPC, as your own private fortress in the cloud. And the firewall rules? They're not just suggestions. They are the guards standing at every single gate, checking the ID of every single packet that tries to get in or out.
Okay, let's get a little technical for a second. A VPC firewall rule is stateful. Now that's a key word. It means if you let a request in, the response is automatically allowed back out. You don't have to write a second rule for it, which is awesome. It's also distributed, which means the rules are enforced right there on the virtual machine itself, not at some central gateway that could turn into a massive bottleneck.
Now, the real magic is how these different pieces give you such fine-grained control. Priority is super important. A rule with a lower number, like 1,000, always gets checked before a rule with 2,000. The target lets you get super specific, applying rules only to VMs that have a certain network tag, like backend database. Then you just define where the traffic is coming from, where it's going, and then the big one, the final action, allow or deny. And please, whatever you do, do not skip the logging. Seriously, turning on logging for your deny rules is like putting a security camera on your fortress gates. It shows you every single failed attempt to get in. In logging your allow rules, that just confirms that the good traffic is flowing exactly the way you designed it. It's an absolute must-have for security audits and just, figuring out why something isn't working. Okay, so our fortress walls are up and the guards are in place. But what if our services inside the VPC need to talk to Google's own APIs, like cloud storage or BigQuery? Well, that brings us to Section 3, unlocking private Google services. Private Google Access is the tool for this job. It's really just a simple switch you flip on a subnet. And what it does is route all traffic headed for Google APIs through Google's own private backbone network, instead of the public internet. This means your VM, with no public IP at all, can securely grab a file from a cloud storage bucket, and that traffic never, ever leaves Google's network.
Pretty cool, right?
Okay, so that handles VM to Google traffic. But what about our original problem, the serverless one? Well, this next piece of the puzzle is the real linchpin. Section 4 is all about connecting our serverless apps, and this is the secret tunnel we've been looking for. The solution here is called Serverless VPC Access. It's this managed thing you deploy right into your VPC, and it basically acts as a dedicated network bridge. You then tell your Cloud Run or Cloud Function service to route all of its outgoing traffic through this connector. And just like that, your serverless code now has a private on-ramp straight into your secure VPC. Now, this slide makes the difference crystal clear because it's easy to get them mixed up. So here's the rule of thumb. If it's a VM inside your VPC talking out to a Google API like BigQuery, you want private Google access. But if it's a serverless function outside your VPC that needs to talk in to your private database, you need serverless VPC access. Two different tools for two very different jobs. All right, enough with the theory. Let's put all these pieces together and actually build something. Section 5, the blueprint. We are going to connect a Cloud Run service to a private Cloud SQL database, step by step.
So here's our scenario, and it's basically the exact problem we started with. We have a public API on Cloud Run. It needs to read and write data from a PostgreSQL database that is and must always be completely private. And here is our 4-step blueprint. First, step 1, and this is non-negotiable. Isolate that database. When you create your Cloud SQL instance, you make that critical choice to give it only a private IP. Next, step 2, deploy the connector. You'll create a serverless VPC access connector inside that very same VPC. Then, step 3, link it to Cloud Run. In your Cloud Run services settings, you just tell it to route all of its outgoing traffic through that new connector. And finally, step 4, this one's optional but highly recommended, secure the edge. You can put Cloud Armor in front of your Cloud Run service, and it'll act as a powerful web application firewall.
So we just built one secure connection. That's great. But how do we scale this thinking up into a real company-wide strategy? That's what our final section is all about, actionable security patterns. This is really about shifting your whole mindset to be private first. Start with a default firewall rule that denies all outbound traffic. Nothing gets out unless you explicitly say so. Use network tags religiously to apply policies instead of messy IP ranges. Make private IPs your default choice for any backend service. And treat that VPC connector as your standard go-to tool for serverless integration. And of course, always keep your dev and prod environments in separate, isolated networks.
And that all leads to this final, critical question that I want you to take back to your own team. Take a hard look at your cloud architecture. Is it open by accident, or is it private by design? Because that difference is everything. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.